Hello everyone, it's Nikki here with the Identify team, and in this video, we're going to break down all the changes that have occurred to the Identify platform over the course of the last month or so. During the past month, we've onboarded quite a few new users, some in partnership with larger groups and other individuals that have just signed up for an account. And we've taken a lot of feedback, gotten a lot of questions, and made a lot of different iterations to the platform, and we just kind of want to outline those and display that we're more than willing to listen to people. We're more than willing to get feedback from our user base and then implement those changes if we think that they would serve a purpose and benefit everyone who signs up for an account, make your sourcing journeys better, more productive, and in the end, more profitable, because we're all here to try and make more money with Amazon. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. So I put together this document. There's a lot of different Discord messages, just different input, different pieces of feedback from different users. And so we're just going to go over each individual change that we've made from top to bottom. So first was our eligibility status. So the way that we used to display eligibility, we were pulling from a certain endpoint in the Amazon API that was sort of made irrelevant with some API changes that Amazon made roughly a month ago. And so I caught that maybe a week before we onboarded a whole bunch of new users in partnership with one of our large groups that we're working with. And other people caught it as well. And so I'll just jump right in and we can show you on a listing what it actually looks like. So we've revamped the eligibility. And so now it's working completely as it should. There's a little tooltip here where sell, you can just sell this product. Apply means that you're eligible to apply, and then restricted means you're hard gated and you have no ability to apply. Before it was just true or false, and we updated to this new endpoint, which gives us the sort of three-tiered approach: sell, apply, and restricted. And if you just click this, it's hyperlinked, so it will take you directly to the application page, and you can add the ASIN to your catalog directly from there. So thank you, Ron, for that. Thanks for catching that. Number two is there's just been generally onboarding troubles. So I built the platform, me and my team built the platform, and so everything that we do within the platform we see as intuitive. We built it, right? So we know where things are, we know what things work and how they work and all these different things. But other people don't necessarily have those or that insight. They didn't build it, and so they're just coming to this platform completely new. And so we've just had to build out additional support, additional education, and additional procedures when onboarding users. And so these aren't implemented yet, but in the course of the next few days, I'd say a week tops, we've added in this new onboarding process. And so after you create a subscription, you'll go to a web page like this and receive an email much like this, where you'll just get kind of the roadmap on what you should do, a quick video outline of all the three platforms or all the three different ways that you can access Identify, where to download the Chrome extension, the mobile app, how to access the resource center, and how to join our seller community on Facebook, and then run your first product search and start making money. So thanks, Rabbit, Luke, appreciate that. Hazmat/meltable. So hazmat or meltable products, those are products that need to be treated very specifically. And so we didn't currently flag that, but we're working on it. It's not available yet on the current extension, so you won't see it here, but what we're working on displaying is, I just pop right over here, we have the three hazmat categories, and it will appear as sort of this dark orange flag to say, hey, this is a hazmat product. If you click on the hazmat, it will take you to the Amazon Seller Central page that gives a full outline and a full breakdown of what the hazmat program is. And there's three different statuses. So one is just it's classified as a hazmat product. Number two is you may not be approved to sell hazmat products, but you might be able to send to specific fulfillment centers within Amazon's network. And then hazmat number three is under hazmat review. And so we have that tooltip. If you hover over it, you'll see that for each of the three hazmat tiers. And then meltable. So you can only send products into FBA from October 16th to April 14th. And so we want to flag that for our users. And so we will eventually implement this light blue meltable flag along with the red and green flags that otherwise appear on all Amazon product listings. Next, eligibility fixes. So we have that taken care of. One of the reasons why some users were having issues is that their Amazon account was not authorized via our OAuth system. And so in addition to implementing this new onboarding webpage, we're also going to add a step where you must, or at least you're prompted to link your Amazon account to Identify so that we have the ability to pull your eligibility from your Amazon account directly. And that's just a read-only access. We're not going to be messing with your Amazon account in any way. It's just a read access to be able to understand whether or not you're able to apply, you're ungated already, or if you're hard gated. Next, we kind of had a funky one where there was just a tooltip that slipped by. And so if I just pop over here and I click on the Identify logo, we can jump right into the Identify platform. And so that issue was with the buy box analysis and this kind of holder, placeholder description, some tooltip description for buy box distribution. We fixed that. Kind of a silly one, but thanks for catching that, Ron. Much appreciated. USPS outbound shipping zones. So this one's a cool one that we hadn't really considered. As of now, if you want to do FBM, the way that you would implement your potential or your estimated shipping is just to plug it into this box. And so you could just plug in $5, and then you'll see the adjusted profit calculation on the listing. But Michael's idea was to implement USPS outbound shipping zones based on their zone system. So they have zones 1 through 9, and based on whatever the originating zip code is, zones 1 through 9 are determined based on the distance from that from that zip code. And then you can just go in and get a much better estimation on what your prospective FBM shipping cost would be. So I've spent probably 5, 6, 7 hours just digging into this one thing that we're trying to implement, and I'm still working on it. It's not pushed yet, but I hope to have it soon. It's just in how rates are determined. We're trying to perfect it so we're not misrepresenting the cost for any of these. So stay tuned for that, but we're currently working on that one. Loading variations. So before, all of the variations on any given listing would be loaded in automatically, and this would cause for, at times, very long loading times. So if this listing were to load in, a lot of people just want to see these first 2 panels. They want to see, are they eligible to sell it? They want to see the BSR, monthly sales, profit calculation, those sorts of things. And the product variation section was messing with that because it would take a long time to load in all of those variations. So what we implemented is this load variations button, where now, instead of automatically loading in all the variations, you just click load variations and we pull all the information for all of those other variations. Again, you can sort by price to see which is selling for the most. You can sort by monthly sold to see which has the most volume and go from there. Try and source either the highest volume products or the highest price products. Next, adding ASIN to the web page URLs. So we had a few questions on this just because in terms of implementing iPhone shortcuts, which if you're doing retail arbitrage, a lot of people like to do. Basically, it was a pretty simple switch. We had previously had sort of a random identifier that would appear in the URL instead of the ASIN or instead of the UPC. And so what we did is we went ahead and just replaced that previously random identifier with the ASIN, which will allow our user base to create those shortcuts and really expedite their retail arbitrage sourcing. Settings syncing across platforms and dimensional weights. So there was previously an issue where when you adjust your settings on the mobile app for this one specific thing, you can see in this screenshot, Rabbit or Luke says, hey, there's an issue where if I set my preferred sale price to buy box, so basically the price that we automatically pull for you to implement into this box or to input into this box, he wants it to be the buy box price. You can also do lowest, you can do the highest FBM price, highest FBA price, etc. There was an issue where it wouldn't sync over when he adjusted it on the mobile app to the rest of the platform. That has been fixed. I could show you, but it might just be tough to show you on my phone and shove it in the camera. So it is fixed. Take my word for it. And then dimensional weights. So dimensional weights basically is taking the dimensions into account when determining shipping cost. So if there's a very light product that is bulky, so let's say like a comforter, for example, like a blanket, that could be very bulky, but it wouldn't weigh a lot. And so in that case, the dimensional weight would most likely be used to calculate your shipping cost. And so what we did is we just added 2 dimensions. We have the weight here, and then we also have the dimensional weight. And then whichever one is higher, we will use to determine the inbound shipping cost. And so this says 0 right here for inbound shipping. That's because we're set to FBM. We're going to switch it back to FBA, and then this inbound shipping appears. And what we're using to calculate that is the, where is it right here? Is the inbound shipping per pound multiplied by the, if I pop back out, multiplied by the weight. Not the dimensional weight, because the dimensional weight is much lower. But again, for those bulkier items, those larger items that don't weigh a lot, we're going to automatically use the heavier of the weight and the dimensional weight to calculate that cost, so you're not going to pay more than you expect when you actually go to ship the product. Then we have a revamped note section, and as I just kind of showed, the ability to edit your user settings in the Chrome extension. And so if I pop right here, you can see the product notes, and so I can just say something here like March 19, identify, change logs, update. Boom. And then that will save. You see the date, and you can edit the note if you want to. You can also delete the note if you like, and this will show up across the entirety of our platform. So you can access these notes in the mobile app. You can also add these notes in the mobile app. You can add them anywhere on our platform, and they just show up everywhere for you, which is super nice. And then the user settings, switching your user settings, you just pop right in here, and you can edit any of these settings. Switch the profit per unit. I want to have a minimum of $3, right? And then you just hit save, and it'll show as saved, and then you're all set. This wasn't here previously. A couple people said, hey, we should be able to do this. You can do it on the web app. You can do it on the mobile app. Why can't we do it in the Chrome extension? Now you can. Then, IP alert history. There was a little bit of back and forth with me and a few of our users just saying, how is this calculated? What goes into this? And basically the way that we wanted to determine IP alert history, or at least what we thought of as IP alert history, is there a risk of a bunch of sellers being taken off the listing at one time? And could that impact you if you decided to sell on this listing? So what's characteristic of IP complaints is you'll typically see a steady seller count. Let's say it's at 10 sellers, and then all at once in one day, it goes from 10 sellers down to 3 sellers. So 7 sellers just fall off all at one time. That is pretty characteristic of an IP complaint, because all these IP complaints typically go out at one time. All those sellers that receive the IP complaints go off the listing. And so we said, okay, we're just going to look for a quantitative above a certain threshold in terms of percent drop in seller count. And then we're going to flag that as IP alert history and say there's a potential for IP alerts. There are a few different reasons why a bunch of sellers could be removed. It could be a mass regating. It could be restrictions. It could be, Amazon's going to sell the product just on their own. It doesn't necessarily have to be IP alerts. And so we're taking a quantitative approach to this again. And so we're basically just switching from IP alert history red flag to a risk of removal flag. And so if I just scroll right over here, you can see what that looks like. We have the IP complaint history flag. This is what it used to look like, or what it looks like currently. And then we're going to switch to looking like this. And then we have the tooltip that basically says the risk of removal flag is shown when there's a large drop off in seller count all at once, potentially indicating an IP complaint, regating, or other issue that caused the mass removal of sellers. While it is rare, the flag could also be caused by many sellers going out of stock at once. So make sure to check the Keepa charts for this product. Basically saying it could flag incorrectly. It doesn't happen often, again, because we do set the percent threshold pretty high, and that doesn't typically happen just from it typically happens over a course of, a few hours or a few days as opposed to all at once, but it still has the potential to flag as a false positive or a false risk of removal flag, which is why we also changed the color to be this sort of yellow, and added the tooltip to, make that distinction there for you. Then, last but not least, we have verification emails. So there was an issue with a few different users where they sign up for an account and then for whatever reason the verification email doesn't show up, and we went about fixing that by basically adding in the ability to resend the email. Seems silly that we didn't have it before, but now we do. We made the fix. None of our user base had encountered the not receiving a verification email, and so we just went ahead and made that fix. Simple, but now if that ever gets lost or you ever can't access your account for whatever reason, you have the ability to resend a verification email. And so I'll just go ahead and show you what that looks like real quick. Okay, so here we are at Identify's login page, and if I just hit sign in, it'll say please verify your email first, and I will just hit the verify now button. It will fire off an email to my email. I'll pop over, verify, and then I'll be all set and good to go. So that is everything for today. We still have a ton of other stuff that we're working on in the background, and we're super excited to get those things pushed and then continue iterating on your behalf, continue building Identify. Of course, if you ever want to contact us, you can do so in a variety of different ways. You can email support@identifysuite.com. You can find me on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. You can submit a ticket through your account in the support section, or you can DM Identify directly on Twitter as well. You should also join our Facebook group and just interact with us, post anything you want to see, ask questions about your Amazon reselling journey. Myself and the staff, we've been pretty successful as Amazon sellers ourselves, and so anything we can do to help, we love to help our user base, and so please just let us know what we can do to serve you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and cheers.